Hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of the Play to Win podcast. My name is Tyler. I am your host this week, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing, awesome, fantastic, and superb. That's a better word than supercalifragilistic, espialidocious, like I did last time. Superb makes more sense. Co-host Keiran, how are you doing? What is happening with you this week? What's going on? We missed a week.
Yeah.
I'll explain what happened briefly, and I'll explain what happened on my end briefly, and then we'll explain why we actually missed a week. I'll let you explain that end.
Okay.
We were supposed to have episode 56 last week. I was not going to be on it because as I tweeted on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter at TylerMiller2496, as you heard, so I said it's needed a mental break, needed a break, and I was like, you know what? Not doing the podcast this week. Keiran, you got it. You got it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You'll rock a solo for a week. Keiran was like, sure, take what time you need. You got this.
Yep.
I'll handle it. Cool. And then Keiran, what happened?
So, recorded the podcast. Everything was going great. Well, great-ish. Like, my PC is terrible, so it takes ages to export podcast episodes. But got down to 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'll sit and wait for it, and I'll get everything uploaded ASAP because it's already late. And then all of a sudden, everything goes black and my computer shuts down. And I'm like, weird. So I try and turn it back on, hit the power button. I'm like, no fans are spinning in this thing, not turning on. So I spent the next hour and a half, I think, trying to diagnose, see if there was any cables loose or so if someone got knocked out of place. That didn't work. So then I was like, okay, this is looking more and more like a hardware problem. So I started testing a few things and my power supply died in my computer, which was great.
Your computer has just been like, yeah, no, we're just going to have this not work. And then this is going to fall off. And then this is going to fall off. It's like a car that's it's like a 20-year-old car. And it's just barely hanging on. And every day you're like, all right, we're getting the job done. We're doing this. Right. And then the check engine light comes on. And you're like, all right, we'll check the engine. And then you take care of the engine. And then you're having, tire problems. And you're like, all right, we'll fix the tires. And then next thing you know, transmissions have an issue. Just one thing after another.
Pretty much.
So that's what happened. That's why there was no episode this past week, which is why this episode is the actual episode 56. Not the one that was recorded and didn't manage to make it to see the light of day, unfortunately. But we're here. We're here now. Excited to be here. I'm for those who are wondering, that week off of the podcast did wonders for my brain. Did wonders for me. Just spent the weekend playing Scarlet Nexus. Literally, that's all I did that weekend. And it was good. Came back to work on Monday feeling refreshed in a way. It was just that was what I needed. Of course, it's back to the normal grind, but I'm doing good. Doing fine. So
nice.
We're hanging in there. We're doing well and all that jazz. Other than your computer issues, how was your week? Was your week fine?
Yeah. I didn't really do anything this week. I watched a few more Bond movies on Amazon Prime. Watched the season finale of Moon Knight.
Nice. That was a good show.
Yeah.
I felt like the season finale was a bit rushed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like the series overall. I just think the last episode, I was going to say the last two episodes, but I actually really enjoy episode 5.
Episode 5 was so good. That was so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good series. And I played a game with some friends last night, so we'll talk about that later.
Nice. Real quick, can we speak about the Khonshu drip at the end? Khonshu all dripped out with his suit and stuff.
Oh,
Just ooh, okay, sir. Look at you, fresh to death. All right. Not gonna say any more about the episode and fear spoilers. That I don't think that's a spoiler at all. Khonshu out here with a suit looking nice. That fight scene, I liked the fight scene. No specifics. That's happening when they were in, basically, I guess you could say the long shot take where it's we're swapping between the stuff. That was a cool fight. And then he's in the laundromat and just goes and then that was a bit of a waste of time, but you know what, you still earned that because that was still cool. That was still really cool how that was helping stuff. So that was that was really awesome. Really enjoyed it. Even though, again, I still feel like it was a bit rushed. I hope we get a season 2. It's not confirmed.
Yeah, 100%.
No one's confirmed for a season 2 or anything. So I hope we do get one, especially with how it ended. Like you can't just end it like that and then not do a season 2. Like you got to.
Yeah.
So yeah, exciting stuff over there. Exciting stuff. I feel like, oh yes, while we're speaking about Marvel stuff real quick, so I saw Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Talked about it briefly with Keiran before we got on, started recording and stuff. Great movie. Really enjoyed it. I would say 8.5. I was torn between that and a 9, but I'm going to say 8.5. That seems a bit more fair for it. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It was a lot of fun. Great movie right there. MCU's future is looking awesome. I'm excited. Brain is theorizing about what's going to happen and what's going to go down and stuff. And I think my theories are true. I think they're real. I hope they are.
Sorry, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it once I've seen it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are. That's where I am. And this is the Play to Win podcast. Of course, show we break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. Subscribe if you're on YouTube or on podcast services. Subscribe, leave reviews, all that stuff. Hit the notification bell if you are on YouTube, so you know as soon as videos go live, and you'll be one of the first to watch our stuff because you will get the notification and you will know that, hey, it's up now, so you can check it out. This week, we're going to be going over a couple news stories. Most of it is from last week. But one big story is from this week. We're going to be talking about Square Enix selling basically their Western studios to Embracer Group. We're going to be talking a bit about Xbox and their market-leading sales, and we'll also be touching on the Ubisoft acquisition rumors that were making the rounds last week. A lot of stuff, a lot of big topics to go into. So Keiran, are you ready to do this? I feel like it's going to be an interesting episode for some of these discussions. Mainly this first one, because this one kind of took me by surprise.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. It took me by surprise for a number of different reasons. So we'll get into this. That first story being that Square Enix, like I said, they have sold off their Western studios and IPs to Embracer Group. That alone is surprising enough to an extent. What's more surprising is that they did this for only $300 million. That is where it's like, what? Really? What? Wow. It's shocking to say the least. Keiran, thoughts? Top level thoughts?
That's real cheap. Like I'm very positive they could have, so like, especially because it's studios and IPs. So like, I'm very sure they could have sold that for. I'm not a business person, so I don't know, but I'm gonna guess like at least double or even triple the price, considering like 1, the talent of those studios, 2, the number of studios, and 3, the IPs behind them.
I will get into that in a bit. I don't know if triple might be saying triple I think would be too much.
Okay.
Double I think is a bit more likely or possible. But we'll get into that in a bit when we talk about the different studios and the IPs that are going. So this deal, it includes coming from Embracer Group's press release, quote, approximately 1,100 employees across 3 studios and 8 global locations, end quote. They expect this deal to close during Embracer Group's, I believe it's their second quarter of their financial year, which is between July and September of this year. So fairly soon, they expect this deal to close. Now, the 3 studios that are being sold off to Embracer Group are Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal. Crystal Dynamics, everyone knows, they're known for Tomb Raider games. They've been working on Tomb Raider for quite a while now.
Yep.
They are known for Marvel's Avengers, of course, and also the Legacy of Kain series, which has basically been super dormant for over a decade. It's been quite a while since there was a new Legacy of Kain game. Eidos Montreal, they are known for Thief, the 2014 game, the Deus Ex reboots, Mankind Divided, and then Human Revolution, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That's what I'm just putting like most known for games here.
Yeah.
Also, Guardians of the Galaxy that just released last year. Can't forget that. And then Square Enix Montreal, they've mainly been focused on mobile games such as Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go, and more. Crystal Dynamics was confirmed to still be working on Perfect Dark, even though they are being sold off to Embracer Group. The initiative tweeted this out, confirming that, like, yeah, we're happy to still be working with them in partnerships, on and so forth. Yeah. So we don't have to worry about that. Now, for the IPs that are going over, again, like we said, it's not just studios, it's the IPs too. Mm-hmm. Tomb Raider is being sold to Embracer Group. Tomb Raider, the series, this news came out as part of the sale. The series has sold 88 million units since it first started in 1996, with 38 million of those coming from the reboot trilogy that started in 2013. Deus Ex is also being sold over. Human Revolution, which came out in 2011, and Mankind Divided, which came out in 2016. Those have sold more than 12 million units since their release. Legacy of Kain, that IP is being sold over. Thief is being sold over. Gex, the lizard, or Gex the gecko, whatever he's called. That IP is also being sold over, along with a host of others. These are just like the ones that were named amongst Square Enix's, the IPs that they own and stuff. As for the Marvel games, Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, those will pose some challenges due to licensing, but those are likely to go along with them as well. Keiran, I wanted to stop again. Now we've put this on the playing field, the studios that are going over, the IPs that are going over. I want to return back to what you said about how you thought they could have been sold for like double or triple what they got sold for. Double, triple at 300 million. Yeah. And the reason I say not triple is because the only IP of these, and I mean, I don't know all the IPs that they have that they're being sold over. I don't know all off the top of my head. But the ones that are named here, the only one that still has any sort of relevance or importance or clout is Tomb Raider. Yeah. Like Legacy of Kain and Deus Ex, beloved series, beloved franchises for sure. Mm-hmm. But no one's really doing anything with them. They're not like, they don't really have much weight in the modern day space. People will love new games from them all the time. People always say, oh, I love a new Deus Ex. I want a new Legacy of Kain. But the series there, they don't have that weight, the same weight as Tomb Raider does. Like Tomb Raider, that's a name. That's an icon of the gaming industry. So that's that like, you know, it's like I would put Tomb Raider on the same level as like a Halo, a Doom, you know, that type of, like, you have that icon status. Your name is really big. You know, it means something to the industry as a whole. Deus Ex, not to say Deus Ex doesn't mean something to the industry, but it's been gone for so long. And I guess you could say it's kind of a niche type of game because it's it's an immersive sim type game, really heavy on the immersive sim aspect of things. And, you know, immersive sims aren't necessarily the most, what's the word? There's a word I'm trying to look for that means it's like spread, widely loved, whatever you like, very popular, widespread or popular, I guess, genre. It's becoming more popular, you know, Dishonored. What's the most recent one? Deathloop. You know, they kind of helped popularize it some more and all into the mainstream. That's what I was looking for. Mainstream. But Deus Ex, it's not up there like that. It's closer than the others, you know, to like the Tomb Raider status. Mm-hmm. But Legacy of Kain, Thief, Gex, like those are names that like diehard fans throw around, but like they're not names that people, you know, really know or are clamoring for or anything like that outside of the diehard fans who want them. So I would have been surprised if they sold for like 900 million. Like, that studio's a talent, sure, but if you're buying also the IPs like Legacy of Kain, Thief, and Gex, they're not going to be worth like up to $900 million. No, they're not going to be up to there. Like, if you had more IPs that were on that level of Tomb Raider, then I could be like, okay, yeah, surprised that it's not up there. Like they could have been up there. You get what I mean?
Yeah, and I still think in my head I could see them selling for triple, but like I think it would most certainly be like a more reasonable price in the double to 2.5 kind of range. Like,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like with the IP, like I still think that Deus Ex is like, I 100% agree with you. Like, it's not a mainstream game and it's not like super sought after, but I think there is still enough life in that franchise and things they could do with it that they could certainly revive it. But
for sure.
I mean, this whole situation is kind of just surprising to me. So I'm still a little bit foggy is not the right word, but unsure of what exactly Embracer Group's plan for these are, because I've never heard of Embracer Group in my life.
Oh, really? You didn't remember they bought Gearbox last year for like $1 billion?
I didn't see that. I thought Gearbox was still owned by 2K.
Nope, not at all. We'll get to Embracer Group's history in a little bit. We'll get to Embracer Group's history in a little bit. But I definitely think more so like the 2 to 2.5 times price of like 600 or like 700 something million. I could definitely see more so as opposed to triple like 900 million.
Oh yeah.
But this all goes back to the fact that sorry, like we said, these studios and titles were sold for the cheap.
Oh yeah.
Like this price that they were sold for clearly says that Square Enix was just looking to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like, you know what, we need to cut our losses on this. You know what, someone else can do these studios better service. We have other things we are interested in, and we're just going to pursue those ventures and more. Because I mean, for the longest time, it's become kind of a joke that from from their Western studios, their games have just typically been seen as by Square Enix as like, oh, not that successful. They didn't meet expectations. Yeah. Like whether it be the Tomb Raider games, whether it be I think the Hitman games, Avengers, it's just like that didn't meet expectations. It's like, what are your expectations?
Yeah.
You know, like with Tomb Raider, 38 million sales from the reboot trilogy. Like, just like, okay, so like how disappointing was each of these like for you and all?
Right.
Like what were you expecting? What were you expecting, and how much did it miss that bar for you? So like when they're constantly not meeting expectations for Square Enix and all like this, it hits a point where it's like, you know what? It just makes sense at this point. You know, the studios can hopefully be able to thrive and be better appreciated at a different company. Square Enix can wash their hands of them and then move forward and focus more in on like their Japanese titles and their Japanese studios that, to be honest, I mean, to be also a bit fair, like people think more of those Japanese titles from Square Enix than they do their Western ones. Not to say that people didn't like Tomb Raider or the other games, but when people think Square Enix, they think Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, Nier, so on and so forth. That's what people know and love Square Enix for. So now they can just really dial in on those. So, you know, that's what you would think. That's what you would like to think would happen from this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm also wondering if, say, like in a couple years, Square Enix are not like, oh, we're missing Western studios, but they might maybe look to restart in the West, or if they will just stay in Japan, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still going to be publishing certain Western titles like Just Cause, Outriders, Life is Strange. Like they're still going to be publishing those games because the studios that make them, they don't own them. They just publish the titles for them. So they'll still be doing those things. Speaking of Outriders, turns out this news just dropped this week. People Can Fly still haven't gotten royalties for the game because it hasn't made back its money for Square Enix. So they haven't received royalties yet. And they're kind of unsure as to when or if they ever will receive royalties for the game.
That sucks.
It does. It's just a shame. Hopefully, the game, hopefully they're able to get those royalties. Hopefully the game is able to turn a profit of some sort.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention this real quick that I have here. So the three studios, right? Because we're talking about how the studios they weren't really seen as that successful for Square Enix, right?
Yeah.
So dug up this little bit of information. The three studios that they brought in, the three studios being Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and Square Enix Montreal, they brought in nearly $200 million of revenue in 2021, but less than $8 million combined in operating income. What does this mean? Had to do a little digging. So revenue is how much money a company makes before expenses are deducted. So they brought in 200 million in revenue in 2021. That's how much money that each of those brought in, right? Together as a collective.
Yeah.
The operating income, though, is how much of a profit a company has made after expenses, regular and recurring costs have been deducted. So those three studios brought in $200 million of revenue, but they only made $8 million in profit after all the expenses and stuff were deducted in 2021. So when you take that into account, the studios were expensive to run just weren't bringing in enough money. And it's like, I guess it's one of those where you're like, it makes sense, I guess. And when you look at Square Enix's, whatchamacallit, when you look at, they have a document online that it's, what was it called? I'm going to pull it up right now. I believe it was on this. Here we go. It was I'm pulling it up. Execution of share transfer agreement with change the subsidiaries document. It's like a formal business document here, right? And it has like tables for Crystal Dynamics, a table for Eidos Interactive. Doesn't have one for the other one, Square Enix Montreal. But for those two companies, it has a table basically saying this is the company, and it has their business and financial performance for the fiscal years 2019, 2020, and 2021, right? And each year, like the operating income was just so much less than the revenue. So for 2019's fiscal year, starting in March for Crystal Dynamics, right? Their operating income was, I believe this is $66.9 million. I mean, that's the revenue. Sorry. The revenue was $66.9 million. The operating income was 2.8. March 2020, the revenue was 81.1 million, operating income 3.4 million. March 2021, operating revenue was 92.2 million, operating income 3.8. So like you see, like it's they're bringing in a lot of money, but once you take all the expenses out, it's like such a small amount of profit at all. And it's even more shocking with Crystal, because this is the time Avengers came out 2020 September of 2020.
Yes.
So then like that's going to be in there for the March 2020 year up to March 2021. It's surprising. Like, oh wow, like even with microtransactions and stuff, like they weren't able to have that much of a profit of any kind. You look at Eidos Montreal, their revenue for the 2019 year, 73.2 million with the operating income of 2.9. March 2020, 75.6 million, operating income of 3.2. March 2021, revenue was 99.8 million, operating income of 4.0. So it's one of those things you look at it and you're like, they really weren't making much money. They weren't making much of a profit for Square Enix. They're just kind of, I don't want to say burning money, because it's not like they're just like tossing money into a fire pit or anything like that. But Square Enix is spending all this money on them and not much is getting brought back in after expenses and stuff. It just kind of makes sense at this point. We're just like, we got to cut our losses.
Yeah, no, like 100%. It's like if you spend, like, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but like say if you spend $70 million on a studio in a year and your income is less than 5% of that, your profit is less than 5% of that in return, then it doesn't make sense to keep them. Like, not to, again, I'm going to use the thing you just used. It's like they're essentially burning money, right? Like it's not bringing in enough money for Square Enix to keep them and say, this is worth it.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So here's the thing. Square is going to be selling them. And I think this is good. I think it's good for both companies.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said, Square Enix can focus on their Japanese stuff. And now each of these companies, they can focus, they'll be with Embracer Group, and they can, hopefully really thrive over there. Hopefully Embracer Group will allow them to, again, focus on the games they want to focus on.
Yeah.
They won't be put on any live service type stuff. And potentially, hey, maybe some of these IPs can come back. Maybe a new Deus Ex could happen. Maybe Legacy of Kain can return. Who knows? Maybe even Gex will come back in some way, shape, or form. Who knows? But the one thing that people have been bugged about with this on the Square Enix side is part of what Square Enix says that this acquisition is going to help them with. And of course, it's blockchain, AI, cloud technologies, basically all the things that people don't want to hear. In this same, execution to share document and all, they talk about what the transaction will help them do. And they say here, quote, the transaction will assist the company in adapting to the changes underway in the global business environment by establishing a more efficient allocation of resources, which will enhance corporate value by accelerating growth in the company's core businesses in the digital entertainment domain. In addition, the transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud, end quote. Keiran?
I mean, Square Enix is really going hard on this blockchain stuff. Like,
they're saying a whole lot about going hard in on it.
I was going to say, like, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I can't remember the exact time because time is a soup at this point, but didn't
time is a soup?
Sorry, that's a Critical Role reference.
I see.
Didn't Square Enix's president say like, oh, like we just think that players misunderstand NFTs and we're going to move forward with them, like something along those lines?
It was like, I don't know if he said they misunderstand, but he basically said, yeah, like, I think it'd be great for players if, like, some of them want to be able to do the play to earn instead of just like they've been doing the play. They've been doing the making stuff for games just like out of the kindness of their hearts. But like, what if they could do it and make money in the process? Why not? Don't you think that's great, guys? I think that's great for players who love to play to contribute, not instead of just contributing out of the kindness of the heart, play to contribute for something tangible that's not so tangible.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I guess from Square Enix's point of view, it makes sense, but I'm not on board with that at all.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I've seen some people say that, like, there's also the possibility that Square Enix just keeps mentioning blockchain stuff for investors, but they're not actually actually interested in going towards it. They're just saying that to try and get more investors involved in the company, because apparently I haven't seen this myself. I haven't done enough digging to actually find this information. But Square Enix, the thing that's really keeping them afloat are their mobile games and Final Fantasy 14. Outside of that, Square Enix isn't necessarily in the best place financially. So it makes sense that you would want to say key buzzwords like this just to get more investors involved in the company. At the same time, maybe they are actually interested in going down the NFT route. Who knows? I do wonder, though, and I saw a lot of this conversation happening this week. After I read this, I was like, there's a lot less company there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which makes it more likely that you're going to be bought one of these days. And I would not be surprised if that happens, if Square Enix ends up getting bought in the coming months. Do you think that is a reality? Do you think this hints at it?
Sorry, what did you say?
Do you think that this hints at them being acquired?
Okay. Yes and no. Like you said, there's a lot less company there, so the value of the potential acquisition just went way down. So
I don't want to say way down because there's the Japanese stuff, and the Japanese stuff is what people would really care about. And the value went down for sure. I don't know how much down it went though. You get what I mean? If they're willing to sell them for just $300 million, I would say it only went down 300 million, which isn't like a cheap amount in a grand scheme, but
yeah. I mean, if that's cheap, then I'll take $300 million right now, please, Square Enix. But
right,
like I can see it happening because they're now going to be bought for, I'll say, much less than they would have been already, right?
Yeah.
Because there's now a lot less company there. But at the same time, I don't know, not that if anyone would buy them, but if it would be within the next few months.
Okay.
Just because I think they would want to, if they could at all possible, they would want to wait until like Final Fantasy 16 comes out and 7 Remake Part 2 comes out to see like what the company looks like after those.
I imagine your company gets more expensive afterwards.
Probably.
In terms of an acquisition.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it would go up in acquisition cost, but I also imagine it might go up in just like running cost for the company.
Maybe. Okay, we're not financialists, people.
Oh no, 100% no. Like this is all speculation and hearsay at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like after this deal closes, it closes what? Sometime between July and September. I wouldn't be surprised if like October we hear and Square Enix is being acquired now. Just like, oh, well, that's happening. Do you think it's gonna be Sony? Because I'm not gonna lie, when I first read this and I saw it, I was like, okay, it seems like they could be bought up any day now. If it's gonna be anyone, I feel like it's gonna be Sony. And I've kind of said that for a while. Like I think if any one company was to acquire them, it would probably be Sony. Do you think it will be Sony? And I mean, there was also, remember that period where like the 3 big rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
We've gotten confirmation that one of those rumors was that Square Enix was going to acquire Sony. It was a rumor from multiple people.
Do you mean
from
Sony
multiple
is going to
sources.
acquire Square Enix?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I said the other one, I'm mistaken. Sony was going to acquire Square Enix. That was one of the rumors. We've gotten confirmation of that. Do you think it's going to happen?
I think it is going to be Sony, but I think there's a part of my brain that says it's going to be Microsoft purely for the reason that Phil Spencer wants more Japanese studios. And I think that if Square Enix goes in the market, then they are going to fight for that company.
I'm sure they will. I've also heard that like it's much harder for like non-Japanese companies to acquire Japanese companies. Yeah. And on top of that, they're still trying to acquire Activision Blizzard. And that's probably not going to go through until in like next year at some point. So there's no way that they can acquire Activision Blizzard, that giant publisher, and then Square Enix, another giant publisher, without either deal being stopped. And they're trying to make sure that Activision Blizzard one goes through. It's not going to be Microsoft.
Yeah,
highly doubt that. So like, if it's going to be anyone, I could see it being Sony. Do I want that? Not necessarily. I would much rather Square Enix stay on its own because they have been supporting the Switch with some great games. Like the Switch is doing so well with Square Enix support. I love it. I'm very happy for it. And they've been putting out games that we probably wouldn't have gotten if they were not independent. You know?
Yeah.
So I would love them to be able to keep doing what they're doing. So I don't want them to be acquired by anyone. If they are acquired by someone, I would be fine with Sony. I would also hope though that Sony would kind of allow them to still put out games where they want to put them out, like they are with Bungie.
Yeah.
Like that would be the way to make that deal like an easy pill to swallow.
Oh yeah.
And because like it's to the point where acquisitions are so commonplace. It's like, all right, this is the reality we live in. Like you gotta just either accept it or you're just gonna be angry all the time. So like I've come to accept it. So I like if it happens, it happens. But yeah, I that's what I would want. I would want them to be able to, still put stuff out where they want to put them out and all like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like also to tackle on my point before, I don't want it to be Microsoft because Microsoft owns so much of the video game industry.
Dear God, no, please no. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. That would be bad. That would be really bad.
Yep.
All right, so I just want to give a little bit of background on Embracer Group, just because Keiran said before he didn't know who they were
No,
in any way,
like
shape, or form.
did we talk about the Gearbox thing?
You said, did we talk about them?
Yeah, I can't remember if we talked about the Gearbox thing when it happened.
I thought we did. Feel like something we would have talked about.
Yeah, maybe I'm just real stupid and I can't remember.
Well, after closing this deal, Embracer Group will have over 14,000 employees, 10,000 game developers, and 124 internal studios. And they currently have more than 230 games in development, with more than 30 of them being AAA titles. Now, Kotaku here, Ethan Gatch over at Kotaku, has a little piece here giving like a bit of background on Embracer Group, right? So originally they were called Nordic Games Holding, and then they started like buying up some different companies, right? So they bought up an Australian publisher, and then they bought up the remains of THQ after that kind of company went down in 2013. Then they rebranded themselves as THQ Nordic. Then a bit after that, they rebranded as Embracer Group in 2019 after they went public in 2016. And now they own over 100 studios and publishers. And let me see. And the piece here, they say Ethan has who they recently bought. In April 2020, they bought Saber Interactive. They bought Gearbox February 2021 for $1.3 billion. They bought mobile game publisher Easy Brain in April 2021. That same month, they also bought Aspire Media, who's making Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Oh, yeah.
Then August 2021, they bought 3D Realms and 7 other studios. And December of last year, they got French board game and RPG publisher Asmodee. So those are just some of the companies they have. But they also own 4A Games, which makes Metro series. Mm-hmm. They own Dam Buster Studios, which made Homefront: The Revolution and is working on Dead Island 2. They've also, let's see, they're also reading, just give me through this. Some of the people that they own published Biomutant, World War Z as well. That's right. They also own Volition, which is working on the Saints Row reboot.
Yeah.
And they also recently got Coach Media or Cock Media, however you pronounce it, which they're the ones kind of behind. Wait, hold on. I forgot. No, they have them because I'm so silly. They have Coach Media. Coach Media had Volition. That's how they have. That's how Embracer has Volition. I was just like skimming through this on piece here and stuff. But recently we did talk about Free Radical Design. They're the ones who were bringing back the Time Splitters IP.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they got a lot of people. They got a lot of studios over there. A lot of studios.
Yeah. If you had said THQ Nordic, I would have known who you brought of it.
Yeah, that's a lot. I've heard people refer to them both as either THQ Nordic or Embracer Group. It says, but Embracer Group's their public name, their official name now and stuff. But yeah, it's wild. It's just absolutely wild that this happened. I was not expected to wake up and see this. I honestly hope the best for those studios. Yep. I would not be surprised though Square Enix isn't getting sold in like the coming months. I feel like at this point it's an inevitability. It's just a matter of the win.
Yeah,
the win and the who.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always a matter of the when and the who, but not this soon.
Not this soon. Not now. Not like
not
this.
Not like this.
Well, we're going to shift away from acquisition talk. We'll get back to it in a little bit. Right now, we're going to talk about Xbox. This happened last week. Kara would have talked about it, but again, computer died. So we didn't talk about it. We don't have much to say about it this week because it's not like a crazy huge thing. But Xbox had a market-leading sales quarter. They revealed that their Series hardware, Series S and Series X, outsold the PS5 this quarter. And actually the first quarter as well, for 2 quarters in a row. The NPD group revealed that Xbox Series consoles was the best-selling console platform in dollar sales for the first quarter of the year, and the Switch won in unit sales. We have a quote here from Satya Nadella saying, quote, "Our ambition is to empower gamers to play when and how and where they want. With our Xbox Series S and X consoles, we have taken share globally for 2 quarters in a row. and we're the market leader this quarter among the next-gen consoles in the US, Canada, UK, and Western Europe, end quote, which is very impressive.
Yep.
Very, very impressive. Congratulations to Microsoft on that. Definitely deserve a lot of praise for being able to sell as many consoles as they have, get as many consoles onto the market as they have been in the current landscape that we're in.
Yeah.
I think there were like reports that Microsoft paid a premium to get like priority on chips and stuff, which is why they were able to pump out so many consoles. I've also seen some people say like, I wonder if this is also, does it speak to Sony's like inability to put out consoles, or the fact that Sony's consoles just keep on selling out immediately? Just like the demand not being able to meet the supply and all like that. You gotta get what I mean?
Yeah, and I've also seen people say that that Microsoft paying for chip priority is cheating, and I'm like, how is that cheating?
Yeah, it's not cheating. They just pay for chip priority, and this doesn't mean that people don't want the PS5. It just means that Microsoft's just able to get more of them out there than Sony, and people are just buying PS5s immediately as soon as they're on sale and stuff. So great for Microsoft, really good for them. Our Xbox resident, our resident Xbox expert professional, Keiran, what do you have to say about this?
I'll give you like the cliff notes of my rant I went on last week. Well, not rant, but like spiel I went on last week. But like, I think this is really good. I think it shows that Microsoft is doing a lot of things right, and that they're enticing more people to their platform. If they hadn't paid for chip priority, I'm still 100% sure that the PS5 would have outsold them. Like that's just kind of a given. But like, I'm also very impressed that they are getting so many people to their platform. With some of the troubles we've heard about with their development on some games recently, but two, like, I think a lot of people are still a bit mistrusting of Microsoft. For one, the reason I just mentioned with their like development troubles, but two, they haven't put out many good exclusives over the last like pretty much decade at this point. So like I think that's a big reason why people are buying the PS5 over the series consoles. But I do think they're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job so far with Xbox, whether it be their consoles just being damn good consoles, Game Pass being the juggernaut that it is, which I mean we always talk about that, but I mean it can't be stated enough. Exactly. Game Pass is a juggernaut, it's game changer and all. Halo, I'm sure, played a factor in things. We got Starfield coming up later on this year, hopefully still later on this year. They just be doing a lot of great stuff over there, making a lot of great moves. And I'm happy to see that they're thriving. They're being very successful in all their endeavors. So hats off to them. Looking forward to seeing how well they continue to do in the coming months, especially after their Xbox showcase. I wonder like how much of a factor that's going to play into things in June and all like that. So it's going to be interesting and exciting future is on the horizon for Xbox. Looking forward to seeing what comes of it. Now, we're gonna get back to a bit of acquisition stuff. This one we'll probably have less to say about than the Square Enix sale that happened. But Ubisoft, more rumors about them being acquired are popping up. And these all kind of stemmed from a Bloomberg article by Ruth David Deschanel and Giles Turner. According to Bloomberg's sources, Ubisoft is in early talks with buyout firms on the matter of acquiring the company. It's a quote from the article saying, quote, several private equity firms, including Blackstone Inc. and KKR & Co., have been studying the French business, according to the people who asked not to be identified because the information is private. Ubisoft hasn't entered into any serious negotiations with potential acquirers. It is unclear whether its major shareholder is willing to pursue a deal, the people said, end quote. Adding on to this, Kotaku sources in an article by Ethan Gatch have told them that Ubisoft has been auditing different parts of its business in the past few years, and although these aren't out of the ordinary for companies to do in preparation for the future, Kotaku notes that Ubisoft could be doing it to get the company in order for a potential sale. Keiran, what do you think of Ubisoft being acquired by private equity firms? Not anyone in the games industry, but private equity. What do you think about that? Because a lot of people are very worried and concerned about this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% against it for the main reason that I think somebody needs to give Ubisoft a kick up the bum and get their act together in a few things. But at the same time, I'm not sure how I feel about it going to an investment company as opposed to a like, like just as an example, like Microsoft or Sony or whoever, right?
Someone in the game space,
Exactly. Yeah. Like
or
embrace it.
someone who actually knows about games and stuff and
Yeah.
cares about games.
Exactly. So, I mean, kind of like what we were saying about Square Enix. Like, I think it's a matter of time before Ubisoft gets sold as well, because I've said this on the podcast a couple of times, but it's like I remember when Ubisoft was like one of the biggest video game makers in the industry, and everyone enjoyed a lot of the games they put out. And nowadays, they're more focused on live service and NFTs, which is the way that a lot of companies are going. But I don't, in my head, it's not perfectly fitted for the video game space.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people online. Like I said, a lot of people are concerned and worried about this. The reason being is that private equity firms, what they're kind of notorious for doing is like you buy a company, you like pump a bunch of debt on it, you get your money out of it, and then you sell them, and then they just like they're left with the debt, and people end up getting laid off, fired, and then the company ends up like close it down anyway. Which is why a lot of people are not. They're like, okay, no, we don't want any of these private equity firms just coming in and buying them. They don't care about the games. They're just looking to make a quick buck out of this. They don't actually care about Ubisoft as a company, which if that's the case, I'm just like, no, let's not have this happen. Ubisoft, look to anyone else but them, please and thank you. So yeah, it's definitely concerning. And I think the bigger topic that can be talked about from this is just the fact that all these acquisitions in recent years go to show that the games space is becoming very hard to stay afloat in if you're not a big company that has a lot of money, or if you are not owned by a big company that has a lot of money. And even these big companies that do have the money, they're having trouble now. So I wonder, like, are we on the road or on the verge of like an industry quote unquote crash of sorts, where it's just like the bubble's going to burst at some point, and how many people are going to come out on top? How many people are going to be able to survive after that bubble bursts? Like, I wonder, and it has me worried.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that actually, but that's very terrifying. Yeah, that's like I think I actually kind of want to go back onto that if we get back onto this kind of topic later, because I'm gonna need time to think about that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a conversation that we should have another time.
Yeah.
Write it down, actually. Write that down, because I'm gonna forget about that. Because it is an interesting question. It is a conversation that I definitely think that we should have and like talk about at some point, with more time, more preparation, more thought brought into it. But yeah, it's a thought I've had. It is a thought that I have had for sure, just with all these acquisitions going on and stuff.
I am just putting it at the bottom of the doc, industry crash conversation.
Okay, cool. All right. You got anything else to say about Ubisoft potentially being acquired?
I don't think so. Just not a private investment company, please.
Yeah, please no. Please no. Let's not have that happen. All right. We got a bunch of rave mentions here to go through and rattle off. Some of them coming from last week, some of them for this week. Let's go right on into them all. We're going to kick things off with some showcases. Got some showcase announcements in the past 2 weeks. Xbox announced their summer showcase set for June 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK. Looking forward to it. I like the little key art they put up there. Xbox logo in space, looking like a planet essentially. It's just clean art there.
Yeah.
Keiran, he had like a bunch of things that he expects to see. But we think that we're probably just going to do an episode like dedicated to predictions for Xbox Showcase and summer games as a whole, like summer showcases as a whole. But I didn't want to give him a chance to drop one prediction, one thing that he expects to see from the showcase.
Well, I'll no, I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna say I expect to see Fable in some form.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I think they have to at this point. Like it's pretty far in development. Well, not pretty far in development. It was been rumored and announced for a while. So
Yeah.
I even if it's just another trailer and not gameplay, I think we're gonna see it. But I want gameplay. I want gameplay for it.
I would love to see gameplay for that. I think it's about time. It was announced in 2020 and it was rumored for a long time before that. It's time to see gameplay. If we don't see gameplay this year, that'd be annoying. Like,
Yep.
really? No gameplay. So I think that we will. My prediction, I'm thinking that we I'm gonna say I think we get no. I was gonna say our first look at the next years, but I think that's still a bit too soon. Because is the coalition working on another project before the next gears?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we see that. I think we see coalition's next project.
Okay.
That's what my prediction is gonna be. We'll get more predictions when we do that actual episode.
Cogs of War.
A spin-off. Like we said, we had another showcase announcement this week, that being Summer Game Fest. The showcase is going to be June 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK. Jeff Keighley has confirmed it will be a cross-industry showcase with announcements and reveals. Day of the Devs will also be happening on the same day. And the showcase, as well as the Game Awards later this year, will also be playing in select IMAX theaters across the US, which is interesting. That's cool. That's exciting. I've kind of always thought about going to like theaters for like these big E3 showcases and stuff. And then I'm like, or I can just watch it in the comfort of my own home and hear everything without like all the fans going, yeah, in my ear and like possibly missing something. Although I would love to be in like that communal environment. I also kind of don't want to, I don't want to have to deal with like the, especially in the COVID age, gamers, stereotypically aren't the most hygienic, and no, no, thank you, please.
Fair. Yeah, I love that they're doing this, and I love they're putting it in theaters so that people can have that communal stuff, but they never do it in the UK. They never do it in somewhere where I have access to it.
Sorry, fam.
Like Critical Role did the exact same thing for both the first episode of Campaign 3 and their 7-year anniversary episode. It was in theaters in the US and Brazil for like whatever reason. Like, good for you, Brazil. I'm very happy for you, but give me it in the UK.
Right. I wonder why they didn't do it in the UK. It's interesting. I'm a bit annoyed that it's on a Thursday though at 2 p.m. I'm just like, I'm at work. Come on, seriously. You couldn't have done it like you could have done it a little later that night.
Yeah.
Could have done it like say 6 p.m. I realize that's 11 p.m. UK, but like throw me a bone, Jeff. You could have done it on a weekend. Throw me a bone, Jeff. Please throw me a bone. That just means I'll just be watching it at work. Do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
We got a big Xbox news here. Fortnite has come to Xbox Cloud Gaming for free, and it can be played on iOS. Epic and Xbox, they partnered up on this. It's you could do it on browsers through your browser-based solution for Xbox Cloud Gaming. They found a loophole. They're back on iOS. It's neat. It's neat. It's cool. The big thing from this though is that if I'm right, it's the first free-to-play game for Xbox Cloud Gaming where you don't need a subscription at all. Like anyone could just go on to Xbox Cloud Gaming and just play Fortnite. You don't need you don't need Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for it at all. It's very neat. It's very cool. And that just goes into the Xbox Play Anywhere initiative. Xbox Play Anywhere, Xbox Everywhere for, it's what they've been aiming for. They're trying to reach all these people, and these free-to-play games, that's the way to do it. I won't be surprised if we see Apex Legends eventually on Xbox Cloud Gaming for free, no subscription. Like Warzone at some point. Like if you do, once you get Warzone and Apex on there, you've won the game. You've won the game.
I was going to say that's actually a really smart move by Microsoft for a couple of reasons. But one, it allows more people access to their cloud gaming platform, and kind of be like, hey, look how well this looks. If you subscribe to Game Pass, you can play all of these games wherever you go.
Right. Like cloud gaming, you're playing Fortnite for free. Cool. You want to play some other stuff on the go? You want to do that?
Getting tilted at Fortnite. Play Viva Pinata.
Are you getting tilted at the towers?
Oh god.
Oh gosh. That just reminded me of the Sonic 06 fandom. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. So good. Everyone should watch it. Real-time fandoms, Sonic 06. It's fantastic. PlayStation stuff now. PlayStation, the premium, the new PlayStation Plus premium, right? We got some reported details on the game trials, and reportedly they will be mandatory for games that cost more than $34, and they will be 2 hours long. Developers have 3 months to put these to release the time trials, and they have to stay on PlayStation Plus for at least a year. A lot of people weren't happy about this. I'm kind of indifferent on it, but I'm just like, I'm like, interesting. Okay. I think the thing that people were a bit concerned about was the fact that they have to be mandatory. Well, it's that they have to be mandatory, and then people were like, do the devs have to make it? Like what? There were reports that Sony would be like handling it on their end and all. So like if Sony's handling it on their end, they just like, here's a cutoff. Then like, okay.
Yeah.
But if the devs have to like do it themselves, it's a different story and all. And then people were like, for games that cost over $34, so then like, what about indie games that are like $40? Like, how is this going to affect them and all?
Yeah, exactly.
And there is the wiggle room where like Sony, like the report said that there can be some games that like put out free demos on it, but that's not like a case by case basis. You know, like that. So we don't have any official information. We'll have to still feel this one out, see it out, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sticking with some PlayStation stuff, we did get the PlayStation Plus games for May. It's FIFA 22 for PS4 and 5, Tribes of Midgard for PS4 and 5, and then Curse of the Dead Gods on PS4. And then the last batch of PS Now games were also announced for May, including Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, Soul Calibur 6, and Blasphemous. That might be the only way you get me to play a Naruto Shippuden game. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't really care for anime games like that. They just seem all very generic and stuff. Variable refresh rate VRR finally came to PS5 last week. Good for them. Good for people who have TVs or displays that can support that. According to Kotaku, the studio head at Hangar 13, the developer behind Mafia 3, has left the company. And additionally, a new entry in the series is apparently in early development on Unreal Engine 5, not the engine that was used to make Mafia 3 and the Mafia remakes. So that is also interesting. Cool thing for fans there if they're looking forward to a new Mafia. Apparently, it might be a prequel. People are like, kind of was hoping the next one would go into like the next decade. But we'll see. We'll see what this is like. Speaking of development, like studio changes and all, the director of Hitman 3 has joined Crytek to direct Crysis 4. Looking forward to that game when it comes out.
Me too.
I know you are. Got a bit of Blizzard things to talk about right now. Diablo Immortal is now releasing on June 2nd, and it's also coming to PC and open beta alongside mobile, and includes cross-play and cross-progression. The reason it's coming to PC after, people were like upset about it being a phone game, Blizzard was like, well, we figured people would emulate it for PC anyway, so we was like, why not? Let's just do it on PC too. It just makes sense. But Blizzard also announced a Warcraft mobile game called Arclight Rumble. It's coming to iOS and Android. Like I said, it's in the Warcraft universe. Based off what I saw for it, what I read about it, it's like it's kind of like a strategy-esque type of game, and you can use characters from the Warcraft universe. To be quite honest, I did not read too much into it because I looked at it. I was like, I care not a damn about this game. Not at all. It's not. I was like, it's not what I was kind of hoping it would be. I don't know what I was hoping it would be, but I was hoping it would be what it was. And I was like, oh, I'm out. I was like, clocked out. It's a thing. I'll put in the brief mentions. I've clocked out though. But Activision Blizzard shareholders, they did vote overwhelmingly to approve the Microsoft deal of them acquiring them. On the other hand, though, New York City is suing Activision because they allege Bobby Kotick rushed that acquisition in order to avoid taking responsibility for the misconduct issues at the company. There's always something. There's always a new lawsuit coming their way. They're like, all right, we're free. We're free. Bam, smack with another one. Lawsuit. Here you go.
Yeah, I feel like there's just another like state or body waiting behind Activision at all times, like Omae Shinderu.
Here we come. Prince of Persia remake has been moved from India-based studios Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai to Ubisoft Montreal, the original creators of the game. That game is still just cracking away.
Yep.
And the final two things here, important things. One, required reading, I think. It's an IGN report by Kat Bailey on Nintendo of America's contractor working conditions. This has kind of been a talking point for a couple of weeks now, but Kat's report goes really in depth. It's really great, really fascinating. I encourage everyone to go read it. And then the last thing, this week, this is more of a US related thing, but still very important. So on Monday, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, this website, this outlet, Politico, obtained a leaked draft of a document from Supreme Court, basically saying that they were going to overturn this law, Roe v. Wade. They haven't officially done this. It was just a draft. The decision is not being officially made until June or July, I think. But Roe v. Wade, for those who don't know, it's a piece of federal legislation which basically said that, basically put into federal law that women have the right to abortion, essentially. And the Supreme Court, again, the draft is saying that they're going to be voting to overturn that and turn the decision on abortion rights back to the states so that it's no longer a federal thing and states will have to individually decide if they will allow abortions or not. Of course, abortion should not, first off, the government should have no say in whether or not like a woman is allowed to have an abortion. Like what she does with her body is her choice. Like why we're saying you can or cannot have an abortion is so far beyond me. Like it just makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Roe v. Wade shouldn't be overturned. So you've had a number of people in the industry, by people in the industry, I more so mean media, saying like speaking out about this. People at individual like developers, like ground floor developers, like no, we like keep this and all. People in the government fighting back against this and all. But there were only 2 game devs this week that we've seen speak out about this. And the first one was Bungie. Like the very next day, Bungie put out a blog post and they tweeted it out too, basically showing the support for Roe v. Wade, and they put links that people could donate to and all. And in the replies to their tweet, the replies were a hot mess, as you would expect, because capital G gamers are the worst and they need to grow up, basically. Basically, they're all saying, stick to games, keep politics out of your games. Oh, no, I don't like this. Like, you guys are a game company. Don't talk about politics at all like that. I liked one response. Some guy said, yeah, like, you guys are free to do what you want. It's okay. But I want a refund on my subscription on the season pass I bought. Because, like, I don't agree with this. You guys are fine. You guys do what you want, but I don't agree with this. So I want a refund on my season pass. And someone said to them, sorry, but you don't believe in terminating things you've already started. Beautiful response right there. That wasn't an official Bungie response. That was someone else's. But, like, Bungie was firing back at people, too, with their own PR appropriate responses that were still hot and ready. So like someone said like, oh, you guys shouldn't be taking sides in this or whatever. And then like Bungie, I'm paraphrasing, they were like, we've taken the side of the women in our studios, or like the side of like women or whatever, something like that. Basically, Bungie was having none of the capital G gamer talk and all. I see it again. So yeah, proud of Bungie for that. And then ArenaNet, the developers behind Guild Wars, they tweeted out their support as well a couple days later. But they're the only studios that we've seen speak out about this in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And
I think it's very sad that they're the only ones who spoke out about this. More should have. I applaud them for speaking out about this, especially Bungie, like so quickly, so fast, and then so steadfast in their support. They're like, shut up, gamers. No,
exactly.
We support this and we stand by it.
Yeah. One thing I was very quickly going to say is like, just like props to Bungie again, because like they talk about a company that like knows they've done wrong in the past. They're genuinely trying to do better.
Yes. Big props to them. Big props to them. Okay. So that's it for the news. That's it for the news this week. It's quite a bit episode, quite a lot to talk about. But we're going to get into what we've been playing for the past 2 weeks. Keiran, I'll go with you first. You got one thing here.
Yep.
I don't think I was expected to see this on your list here. When you were playing the hunting game, you hunt the peoples, you kill the peoples while doing the jobs at the same time. What game am I talking about? Keiran, tell the people what game I'm talking about.
I've been playing Among Us. Well, I played it for like maybe 2.5, 3 hours last night with a bunch of friends in a Discord server. I don't really have super much to say about it, to be honest. Like, it's Among Us. You find people and kill them. But
what made you do this? I know you said you were playing with friends, but like, what made this be the game that everyone played?
I don't know. So somebody just pinged in Discord asking if anyone wanted to play a game, and because there's like a large group of ages in that server, so like not everyone has like consoles or like a gaming PC or stuff, but like a lot of people have Among Us, and if you don't have it, you can download it free on your phone. So that everyone was just decided, hey, we'll just play Among Us. Although I think there might have been something wrong with our session because I got imposter like 6 times in a row.
No, that was not the wrong with the session. That was just planned. You were just always going to be the imposter.
Like I love playing the imposter so much. It's so much more fun than crewmate because you actually have to like try and like explain your way out of situations you know that you're lying about. It's so much fun.
And if you're not a good liar, then you're just kind of out of luck.
Oh, it was so funny. So one time I was the imposter. I think at that point there was maybe 9 or 10 of us playing. I was the only imposter. I killed 4 people without anyone finding bodies or anything like that. And then someone found a body, and you might not have seen it. Have you ever have you ever seen the Markiplier video with he's playing with like Jacksepticeye? Okay.
Nope. Don't watch him. I know who he is. Just don't watch him.
Yeah. He's playing with Jacksepticeye and a bunch of other people. And he literally kills somebody in front of Jack. And when like Jack reports the body because they get locked in a room and Mark can't kill him because there's a cooldown on the kill button. When Jack finally reports the body, Mark gets in there first and he's like, I saw Jack do it right in front of me. Like he killed Wade or someone, I don't know. And they voted off Jack. I played out that situation perfectly last night and I got away with it and won the match. And I'm so proud of myself.
Nice. See, I've never played Among Us. And sometimes I think about like, I wonder how fun it would be to play. And I just wonder, like, man, if I was the imposter, how well would I lie my way out of a situation? Like, would I be able to lie myself out of a situation? I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to, because I think I'm a fairly good liar. But when put on the spot like that in a tense situation, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I'd be like, I feel like I'd be stumbling over my words. Like, well, like, it wasn't me. It was actually this person here, and like it'd be tough. I don't know how well I do.
Yeah, the best way I've found to get out with it, and I'm kind of giving up my imposter strat here, but the best way I found to get out of it is just like, say you were in somewhere doing one of your tasks and just, or like, so like I was in electrical rearranging wires and I was going to wherever to download data. That's gets me out of it most of the time, but sometimes it don't work.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep it in mind for when I get around to playing it. You got anything else to say about Among Us though?
I played on the new airship. Well, not new airship map because it's been out for ages, but I haven't played it since they only had one map. So
it's new to you.
Yep. Don't play on that map if you have 5 people because it's way too big.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing pictures of it. Like it's huge.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was like you could easily kill a person, walk around for 2 minutes, and be like, "Here's the body, guys.
Yeah.
What happened to him? I just found him like this. I wonder who did it." It seems like that'd be easier to lie on that map with like a smaller amount of people. Maybe.
Yeah, and I mean it was easier last night as well because I'm playing with a bunch of people that 1 haven't played Among Us before, but 2 just don't really play video games. So like I was using some like real basic strats to get out of it, like kill someone, then report the body immediately and be like, I just found it here.
Oh man, look what I found, people. Look what I found. That's funny. That's cool. I'm happy you had fun with that. Happy you had a good time with it. I played two things in the past 2 weeks. One of them, which I only played for like half an hour. That one was Halo Infinite. Played Halo Infinite for about 30 minutes on Thursday night.
Is that when the new season dropped?
Yes, new season dropped. I wanted to get into it for a little bit. And I only played like 3 matches of Last Man Standing, which is one of the new modes they added. That's the mode that you have to play in order to like progress the event battle pass for the interference event that's going on right now. Again, I only played 3 matches. It's like battle royale, light. So you spawn in on the map Breaker, which is the new big team battle map. No, there's no radar at all. No radar.
Okay.
You spawn in with the pistol that shoots that's like the stun pistol. I forgot the name of it.
Plasma pistol.
No, not the plasma pistol. The electric.
Oh, the
electricity pistol.
Reflector? No.
Not the reflector, but again, the electricity pistol. That one, the shock pistol. You spawn in with that, and after a kill, you're able to. Well, no, it's not after a kill. It's like you need to get a certain amount of experience to level up your weapon, and then after you go from the electric pistol, you go to the Wrangler or the Mangler, whatever it's called. And after you get enough experience again, you can level up to the assault rifle, and then so on and so forth.
Okay.
It's kind of like gun game in a sense, where like after X amount of kills, you can upgrade to this next weapon. Like one of them is the battle rifle, the shotgun's in there somewhere, the commando's in there somewhere at some point in time. Like you just level up to them and all. And around the map are some power-ups. So like the overshield is on the map, the cloak is on the map. I know those are the only 2 power-ups actually. And the premise behind it is that everyone on the map has 5 lives, right? There's, I think, a total of 11 or 12 people, and everyone has 5 lives. After all your lives are done, you're out for good. You're done. And then once it gets to, I think, either the last 5 people or so, a danger zone starts to form, which is like, you're circled in a battle royale, and then the danger zone just shrinks ever so slightly over like the last few bits of the match. Now, I'm not really a big a fan of like elimination style game modes in games. I'm really not. It's just not my cup of tea, right?
Fair.
So you take that into account. You take into account I haven't played Halo in months. You take into account that I have not played. This is my first time playing this map ever. Take those 3 things into account. Didn't really enjoy Last Man Standing that much. I will say my first match, I died like 3 times in the first 2 minutes. I was like, all right, it's just a rip at this point. My second and third matches, I did do better. So like I don't want to chalk much of my gripes up with the mode to like the mode itself, because again, I only played 3 matches in like short amount of time, and I didn't have to play Halo that much. It was my first time on that map. But I think that I feel like the mode would be better with a radar, at least for the first bit of the match, because the map is so big. It's not that it's huge, but like it's a big map with only 12 people on it, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think having the radar would be helpful at the very least. That way you can at least know it's like kind of where someone is, because it's so easy when you first spawn at the very beginning of the game. It's easy to spawn, step out, like walk for like 3-4 seconds and then get shot. It's so easy for that to happen, or like for you to see someone.
Yeah.
And if they don't see, like if you had your radar, they probably appear on the radar, right? Or you would appear on the radar for someone else. But like if without it there, like it's easy to just like spawn and then die pretty quickly at the start of a match, which can be disappointing and annoying. So I think like if the radar was there until, let's see, like there were maybe like 6 or 7 people left, like halfway through the match, then like remove the radar at that point, then I think it'd be a bit more fair or a bit more enjoyable at the very least. That's just my personal opinion. I also don't know how I feel about like the gun gamey aspect of it. Like it's fair that everyone starts off with the same weapons.
Yeah.
But like if you're not able to get the kills, then you're kind of just stuck with the lower weapons while everyone else is like, I got a better weapon than you. It's just like, okay, I guess, sure. That can be a bit annoying. The power-ups on the map, like I said, it's the overshield and the cloak, like the invisibility.
Yeah.
I've seen some people say this, and I kind of agree. They could be overpowered.
Yeah.
Because they're the only two on the map. And like if you're invisible, like I haven't seen this myself, but like I wouldn't be surprised if it's possible, like stack the invisibility. So like get the invisibility and then run around, kill some people, find another invisibility, grab that one, use that one and all. And in a game mode like this, like you're just at a major advantage if you have that. Or the overshield. Like you have an overshield, you come up with someone who does it, and it's just like, bam, you're gonna win that match. You're gonna win that fight for sure. So I saw some people say maybe either swap the power-ups or like reduce the frequency of them because they drop in throughout the course of the match.
Yeah.
They're not just like there all the time. Like they drop in over the course of the match, but I think they drop in fairly frequently now. And so some people say, hey, maybe reduce the frequency of it to make things a bit more fair, which would definitely work in the game's favor. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be so harsh on it because I did only play 3 matches. And again, like all the caveats that I had to add on to my experience with it, they definitely like color things a different way. But I'm not the biggest fan of it right now. It feels like a test for Battle Royale, but like not a good test for a Battle Royale. Like if Halo's Battle Royale is actually like this with like the level up system and stuff, I won't like it. Like I think like there needs to be like, let's loot the map and stuff and find items like that and all. This, it feels like it's trying to lay the groundwork or like be a test like, hey, what do you guys think of like a Battle Royale type of mode in Halo? What do you guys think of that? Except I just don't really like the way this one worked out so far at the very least. It's just not really clicking with me. And like I say, I don't really like elimination type modes, but I enjoy, like I'm fine with the fun Battle Royale. Like I enjoy playing Fortnite. I can have fun in Fortnite. Warzone, I played a little bit of it. Didn't really play it too much. But I mean, it was fine when I did play it.
Yeah.
But like Battle Royales can be fun for me. This one just didn't really click for me.
Disruptor is the name of the pistol.
There you go. You said Reflector. I'm like, no, you're thinking of the Repulsor, but no, it's not it.
Yeah.
You think you'll give it a try? Maybe you'll hop into Halo at some point, try the new season and Last Man Standing, see what you think of it.
Yeah, probably. I haven't played Halo in I don't know how long, but
yeah, you and many others.
Yeah. So like it's a game that will like pop into my head every so often. I'm like, oh yeah, that exists. Like I want to go and play Halo, but then I'm like, nah, not right now. And then I'll put it off and just not do it. So now that the new season's launched, I want to go and get there's a new armor core, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So I'll go on and get the new armor core, and then try it Last Man Standing and see if I like it.
Yeah, like I had recorded gameplay of my matches, and I was just like, "Oof, nope, not showing this. Not showing this at all. This is not good. Not good gameplay. Not playing this." So yeah, I want to give it a try. I'm also, again, because all the event challenges are around Last Man Standing, a bit annoyed by that because I'm like,
yeah,
really? And like they did say they're going to fix some of the challenges and make some of them easier because like some of them are like get 3 melee kills in Last Man Standing, get 10 melee kills. And it's like, fam, like what? Melee kills? Seriously? Why do I have to get melee kills in this mode specifically? Like this mode of all modes. You want me to get melee kills? It's promoting, camping and stuff. Just that challenge system is bad, man. Challenge system is bad and just continues to prove that it's bad. But moving on from a game that not having the best time with, Scarlet Nexus. When I last talked about it, I had only played about 6 hours or so of the game. I have played 30-something hours of the game now. I finished Yuito's story in about 23 hours. I am basically at the end of Kasane's story, and I've played 35-ish, 36 hours or so. So let me say this. I tweeted this on Twitter. I enjoy the game. It's a fun game. The story is it's a story to say the least. It's a story. But I mean, it's one that I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm just along for this wild ride, and we're going to go wherever we go. The combat is fun. The combat has always been fun with Scarlet Nexus from the very first time I played the demo. Up till now, it's been a blast. I think the combat really doesn't get to shine though until you get to like near the end of the game. Because once you have like 8 different SAS things at your disposal, and you have you're like what, and you have like more skills, so you can like have multiple SAS abilities active at the same time, and you have your bonds with your teammates leveled up enough so that you can use like combo moves with them during combat, or have them like jump in to do like a move at a certain point during fights and all. And it's all, once you're at that point, right, and it's all flowing seamlessly, it just feels so good. It feels even better than it did up to that point. Because up to that point, like, yeah, you know, you're using the abilities you have for your team and all, and it's fine. But once you get to like chapter, I think it's like the end of chapter 9 or so, when at that point you have the full suite at your disposal.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, I gotta use this ability for this enemy, and I should use this one for that one to get close to them. I'm gonna switch out from this one and go to this one over here. And it just feels so good, just constantly switching between them all on the fly. It feels so good and it feels so cool. Like I said, you end up feeling like such a badass anime character. It's so cool. It's so much fun. It just takes a while to get there. Like I said,
yeah,
it took me like 23 hours to beat Yuito's story. So it took about 17, 18 hours to reach that point in the game for the combat to be. And again, that's not saying the combat is bad before that. The combat is really fun before that. And it's really good. It's really cool. It just doesn't reach its full potential until near the end of the game. But I mean, even still, that near the end of the game, it's a good 5 or so hours of game there still, where you're enjoying this combat like this and all. Yuito's story, I think, because there's Yuito's and Kasane's story. Yuito's story, I think, is definitely the one that needs to be played first before Kasane's. And I say that because Kasane's story, I feel like Kasane's story is better as a companion piece to fill in the blanks of Yuito's story.
Okay.
As opposed to you, because Yuito's story, I feel like, is the one driving the main plot. It has the most mystery behind it. And it has the most mystery behind it, and you get a lot of answers in Yuito's story. Whereas Kasane's story, I feel like there are, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just works better as a companion piece to fill in Yuito's gaps, as opposed to playing hers first, and then you're like, okay, now what's going on with everything else? And maybe that's because like I already did Yuito, so I know like half the game already.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like trying to look for blanks to be filled in and stuff. But I think Yuito just works better first, as opposed to Kasane first. But let's see. There was that. The Bond episodes, there are things you could do in the game during like the standby episodes, at the standby phases of each chapter, right?
Yeah.
So at each chapter you have like, your main mission, and at the end of it you have a standby phase where you go back to your hideout and you can chat with your party members and like get them stuff and do Bond episodes with them, which is basically you just have like a conversation with them. Like you do have a conversation, you might go somewhere and like you get to know them a little bit more, right? And they're fine. They give you like, cool character moments with the characters and stuff. But my only issue with them is that, and I feel like this might just be a me thing, but I wish that you were only able to do a certain amount per phase, right? Okay. Because I think every phase there might be about 3 or 4 available for you to do, and you're able to do all of them per standby phase, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not like time advances if you do one. Like you do one, it's like, all right, there are 3 more to do. You can go ahead and do them. You don't have to. You can easily just, continue the story if you want to. But it's at your detriment if you don't, because then you end up losing out on chances to increase your relationship with that person and get new abilities with them and so on and so forth. So it's in your best interest to do the bond episodes.
Yeah.
It becomes an annoyance though once you have the full team near the end of the game, because then it's like, all right, there's like 6 bond episodes for me to do. And the dialogue, like if you don't skip any dialogue, these bond episodes can take like 10 minutes. Like they can take quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
So you then end up sitting there for 45 minutes or so, just doing these bond episodes back to back to back to back to back. It's at a certain point, it becomes tedious.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get
so
that.
Like, and that's why I was like, I wish that you were only able to do a certain amount. Like, I wish it was like, all right. And I get this from Persona, because at Persona, you have like, after your school day, right? You have afternoon and then night, and you can choose what you want to do. Do you want to go do your job? Do you want to go hang out with a friend? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Whatever you do, though, time advances forward to the next time of day. And then you could say, all right, now I say, for example, after school, I hang out with An. All right, cool. Now it's nighttime. I can either watch a movie, I could do homework, I can read, I can maybe go out to the batting cages. But whatever I do, I can only do one of these things in the time advances. So I have to pick and choose what I want to do. That helps keep things from being, 1, overwhelming, and 2, it helps keep things from feeling like a chore and a checklist to go down. And that's what the bond episodes, it started to become to me near the end of the game, near the end of Yuito's story. They started feeling just like a checklist of, all right, let me go buy these things to give this person, this person, give this person. Now let me do this episode, this episode, this episode. And because of that, I started caring less about each person's stories. And I normally in a game like this, I let the dialogue play. I was like, nope. At a certain point, I was like, I'm just going to read it. And as soon as I'm done reading, I'm pressing A. So I was reading it in like 1 or 2 seconds. A. And conversations that probably would have taken like anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, I was getting done with them in like 2 minutes. Nice. I was like, I don't care. I can't be bothered to sit here for like almost an hour doing each person's bond episode. And like, that could just be a me thing. It could just be a me thing. But I really wish that like, if it actually restricted, all right, you have 6 bond episodes available, you can do 3 before the next chapter.
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, who do I want to spend my time with? Who I care about more? And it makes me be more deliberate with my choices. It's not that type of game though. And I understand why the decision was made the way it was. I just wish it was different.
Yeah, and I think I would have, I think like you, I would have preferred like limiting it to 3, because like throughout a video game, every person is going to get more attached to like one character over another, right? Like you're just in Final Fantasy VII, like I like Tifa way more than I like Barret. So if there was that kind of thing in Final Fantasy, maybe there is, and I've just missed it. I don't think so. But
no, there's not.
No, yeah, I didn't think so. But like if there was, I 100% would have chosen Tifa over Barret, and then I would have chosen I'm blanking on her name. What's the other main girl? Aerith, yes. I would have.
How could you forget Aerith?
I'm sorry. Like
the disrespect.
I always want to call her a different name. I think it's like a freak, or I don't know. Anyway,
a freak. What?
I don't know. It's been 2 weeks since I played that game, but yeah, like if there was like an option in Final Fantasy, I would 100% choose Tifa over Barret and just not care about Barret's story at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't care about the characters. Like I still cared about them all. Even one that I absolutely despised, like Shiden. He's easily my least favorite. He became my least favorite video game character. Period. Just 100% did.
Oh damn.
But like Kasane's story, like makes him a bit better in my opinion. Like the bond episodes you have with him, and like the stuff he it's like the way he's portrayed there, because you see a different side of the story of the characters. Like the characters and Yuito's party are not the characters that Kasane has in her party, and the things that because Yuito does in his thing aren't the same things that Kasane does in her story. So Shiden is a better character in her story, but I still don't like him that much. I'm still like, all right, you still suck though. I was like, you're still like just like an annoying bratty person. Like I get why you are the way you are, but I hate you. I hate you so much. So yeah, like I'm near the end of Kasane's story. Like I'm up chapter 10, I think. Basically, I'm at the point now in the game where nothing is different between Kasane and Yuito's playthroughs. Like there may be a cutscene or two that's different, but like at this point, all the main story stuff is going to be exactly the same. So at this point, I'm like, all right, any main cutscene comes on, let's go on my phone. Just to be done. Or either do that or just press A as much as I can to the cutscenes. It's like, I don't have to pay attention anymore. Like
exactly.
The same from this point on. But so yeah, I'm going to finish that this weekend, and then hold on a second.
Yep.
Sorry about that. That was my brother asking me about Mother's Day cards. I am going to go either play Injustice 2 because I downloaded it.
Nice.
Either that or maybe I'll do some Trek to Yomi, maybe some Loot River, because those are on Game Pass now.
Yes, I'm very excited to get into Loot River.
Me too. Very excited as well. Maybe one of those. I think I'll jump into Final Fantasy 13 2 at some point soon.
Nice.
I want to play that one. So I got options. It's backlog season right now, basically. I still want to play Kirby. I gotta find time to buy that. Money, time, stuff. So
yep.
Figuring out what to do and what to play. But that's really it.
Yeah.
You got nothing else? You got any more questions about Scarlet Nexus?
I don't think so. I'll probably have more closer to the time I'm going to play it.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And the reason I'm getting through Kasane's story so fast is because I'm doing New Game Plus. So when you do New Game Plus, you carry over like whatever level all your characters were. That carries over the money you have, your experience points that you have. All that carries over, and your weapons and stuff. So I started Kasane's story at level 60. The enemies don't scale to your level. They stay like the level they're supposed to be at that point in the story.
Yep.
So I'm level 60, and I just like, all right, I will unlock everything I can on the skill tree right now. Unlocked all of it at the start of the game. Gave my party all the best stuff that they had. And it's just like, and we will blow through the game, which is why I'm like going to be done with it in like 10 to 15 hours, as opposed to like the 20 hours it would have taken me.
Yeah.
Doing her story like at just level 1.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's very neat. There's also like a little, I've been just cheesing the heck out of this move that you could do with Shiden. With his SAS ability, he has electrokinesis, right? When you get the bond, your bond with him up to a certain point, you have to move where if you do a special attack, Kasane throws her daggers and forms an electric circle around enemies, and it does a lot of damage. So whenever I do combos, I just do X, 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 Y, 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 and I just toss that, and it does so much damage. I do that, then I throw something, then I do X, 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 Y, and I just do that all again. If I combine that with Kyoka's duplication, I then have 2 Miis or 3 Miis doing that exact same move, and it just does so much damage. It's just like, I'm overpowered. I win.
Yeah,
I win. I've just been abusing that move out the entire game. It's fun. See, I love this game's combat. It's really great.
It kind of sounds similar to something I do in 7 Remake, where I'm playing as Cloud and I'll be in Punisher mode, and it's like against smaller enemies. It doesn't really work against bosses or anything, but just do a bunch of attacks and then hold down X, so you do like the overhead swing.
Yeah.
Swing down thing. I do that, and it just finishes everything off.
I want to play that game too. You gotta find time. Gotta find time for these things. Oh boy. But all right, that's gonna wrap up episode 56 of the Play to Win podcast. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening. Hit us up over on our website, playtowingames.wordpress.com. Check it out. It's home for all of our stuff. So please go give it a look. Go give it a read. Read some of the reviews that we have over there, some of the previews that we have over there. Some good stuff there. Go check it out. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Play to Win Game for updates on the show and other things that we may post over there. If you follow us over there, you would have known why we didn't have an episode last week.
Yep.
That way you're in the loop. So follow us over on those platforms. Subscribe to us over on YouTube as well. Hit that notification bell. That way again, as soon as things go live, and you can watch them as soon as they go live. Subscribe to us on podcast services too. It's very important. It helps us out a whole lot. Leave us likes, comments, share the stuff. Leave us those 5-star reviews. They are all very much appreciated and very helpful. Thank you all so very much for doing that. We encourage you to do that. We implore you to do all those things. But with all that being said, Keiran, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at badlynet, BADLYNET, all one word. I don't know why I keep plugging my Instagram because I never use it, but if you want to follow me over there, you can.
And you say that every week too. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I do it.
And every week I remember. It's just, I think it's because I did it all the time when we were Games and Gaming and for like a lot of the first episodes of Play to Win. So it's just like ingrained on my brain now that that's how I usually plug myself at the end. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you can find me over on Twitter at Tyler Miller 2496. Follow me over there and chat with me over there about all things gaming, movies, anime, so on and so forth. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening. We will talk to you all next time. Have a great one.
See you later.